I'm your host Azhar Carrim, and today we are at the Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art located at Innovation Tower. And today we have with us a very special guest. We have with us an illustrator, a graphic designer, and a young and striving artist. We have with us Nelusha. So how are you doing, Nelusha?
I'm good, thank you.
Art. It is an expression of skill, technique, and creativity. It's where you bring your imagination onto a canvas. I'm your host, Azhar Kareem. I am a producer, content creator, and an artist. I invite you to this show to meet other artists. This could be the creative, the hungry, the energetic, and the aspiring. And get to know their insights on their art, their creativity, and more about themselves. Want to know what it takes to be an artist? Welcome to The Canvas with Azhar Zahid Carrim. Okay, Nelusha, I'm going to ask this question straight up. Who is Nelusha as a person and also as an artist?
So as a person, I'm a 23-year-old graduate. I just finished uni and I'm back here in Sri Lanka. I was in Dubai for the longest time. I studied there. I studied animation, 3D animation, and I majored in modeling. But currently I'm working as a graphic designer and illustrator freelance. So I have customers coming to me personally and asking for orders and stuff. So yeah, I started art when I was, I would say about 13.
That's very young.
Yeah. My dad used to bring me these Disney VCDs when I was a kid, and I used to watch them back to back constantly. And I feel that was my biggest inspiration when it came to art. I used to love the style, and I really wanted to work at Disney at one point. So I would watch Bambi over and over again, and I would just keep drawing deers. So my first proper I would say work was just drawing Disney animals. And as I got older, I got into more pop culture arts. I got into comics and TV shows and 3D animated cartoons, 2D animated cartoons, and I started to really imitate that kind of style. I used to draw superheroes, I used to draw powerful female figures. I used to just love creating characters that had a really in-depth story. So when I turned 17, when I graduated high school, I wanted to study, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to study. So my parents originally, they weren't okay with me doing art. They were like, it's not exactly a good field to go into, it's not promising, maybe you should do something like psychology or something. And I was actually considering doing psychology for the longest time, but I thought, no, I want to follow my passion. I wouldn't be happy doing psychology. So I found this course that they did animation in Dubai, and my dad was currently working in Abu Dhabi at the time, so it was really convenient for me to just go to Dubai and start studying there. So I applied, and but my luck, I got in. I got a scholarship as well, so I was very happy about that. But then I slowly realized that the course that I wanted to do wasn't 2D animated based, it was mainly 3D animated, which I was okay with because it gave me a sense of diversity with my art. So even if someone comes to me and asks me, hey, could you do 3D animation? Could you do a model for me? I can do that because I have the qualifications to do it. But after I graduated, I realized, okay, I really want to do illustration. That was my passion to begin with. I've been drawing since I was 13. I've been honing my craft. So I started doing freelance illustration, and I'm still looking for clients at the moment. I network as much as I can, and yeah, so I'm currently just freelance, self-employed at the moment.
So in terms of style, basically you told you were influenced by Disney's 2D and 3D animation style.
Yes.
So how did it affect your style in any way?
So initially, I just tried to copy that style. I just wanted to mimic because I really wanted to work at Disney as a kid. I thought, oh, that is my final goal in life, is to start working as an animator at Disney. And when I was 13, 2D animation was booming.
Yeah.
It was in style, everyone loved it. But then as I got older, it started to go out of style. And I feel like for the longest time, I really wanted to bring it back, and I was really adamant on just like doing 2D animation. That's why I joined SAE, thinking, okay, I could do illustration and 2D animation at the same time. But to my weird luck, they did 3D, and my lecturers even told me like, it's really good to do 3D because 3D currently is booming because you have VFX in movies, which is huge to people. They want things as realistic as possible. But as I grew as an artist, I started to develop my own style by mixing Disney and comic styles because I really liked the proportions of comics. I loved that they were really muscular and they were really built, so I would try to mimic that style as well. And I feel that when I turned 16, I started properly exploring my own style, which was it was terrible at the time. But I started to try to just use real life references with my work instead of using comics as an example, which really helped me eventually build my style up to what it is now. So yeah.
So you added a bit of reality to that fictional world
Yes.
of yours. So
Yeah.
that's very nice to hear.
Yeah.
And you also told that your parents were really supportive, and tell us more about that.
So my parents have been always, they've loved that I've been creative. My sister and brother, so our family is just very creative as is. So when I was young, my dad would always encourage me to follow my I would say hobby, and my mom would always let me get whatever medium of work I want. So she'd get me books, she'd get me paper, she'd give me crayons without any fuss. She'd be like, yeah, sure, get it. So that was really encouraging as a kid to have your parents say, go for it. They don't hush down your style. And as I got older, my dad would start to buy me. He bought me a tablet. It was my first venture into digital art. Was buying me a tablet. It was a really simple tablet, but I feel like that was my gateway into exploring my style. So initially, what I would do is I would draw my paintings by hand on paper, and then I would take a picture of it on my phone, and then I would use my Photoshop and then go over it digital style. And then when I went into uni, my dad actually got me a really good laptop, which helped me with my work as well. So they were always really supportive. They never denied me anything. They always said, yes, go for it, go ahead and do it. They said, just have a backup plan just in case, because you never know if your art's gonna go somewhere. But just have a backup plan. But they were always very supportive of me. And my dad, he got me an iPad when I turned 20.
Yeah.
So I asked him, can I have an iPad? Because I learned that an iPad is a really good way to get into digital art, and I found that I couldn't draw directly from a hand like a normal tablet. I needed a screen tablet, but the screen tablets are really expensive. I thought, okay, an iPad is a perfect way to get into it. So I asked him for that, and he immediately, the very same day, he got me an iPad, which was amazing. I was surprised that he was okay with it, and he got me an iPad, and I feel like since I got my iPad, it's been I would say about 2 years, and my art has improved substantially because of it, because I'm able to draw by hand and just bring out my true creativity through that. And I find that traditional art, while it is amazing, it's not my forte. I find that digital art, I am able to do so much more with digital art. I'm able to create so many more effects using the apps that I have on my iPad, and I feel that it was very interesting for me to get into that field of. I never thought that I would get digital art. I always thought, no, I'll always be traditional. I'll always be old school. But I feel like, no, I'm doing really well with the digital art as a digital artist. And yeah.
So now every artist needs certain, like it can be time, it can be a certain workspace, essentials, components to produce their art. So in terms of components and essentials or a workspace, what do you need?
So I would say my computer setup is my main workstation. So I have my computer, then I have a monitor, and I use those two as reference. So I'll have a bunch of reference or mood boards up on my monitor, and I'll have something playing on the background because I feel like I need to have background noise to concentrate. As weird as it sounds, I know artists say they need silence, but I need either music or an old t-shirt that I've already seen that's kind of like a classic for me.
Yeah.
There'll be background noise, I'll just drown it out, but then having that kind of stimulus in the background really helps me get into my work. So I'll have those two on my computer, and then I'll have my iPad in front of me, and I'll just be drawing. And I will sit in my room for hours, and I will just draw. And I feel like that, like my computer and my iPad are my basic, most functional essentials. But then there are some days where I think, okay, I just want to go out. I want to just separate from my actual work session. So I will either go downstairs to the living room, and I'll just have my iPad and a cup of coffee or tea because I need some kind of caffeine to work. So I'll have my iPad, a cup of coffee, and maybe my phone to play music, or just to even like watch a video while I'm working, just because I have something to just alternate between, so I don't get too drowned in the work.
Now in this day and age, social media plays a huge role for influencers, artists, celebrities. So how does social media help you with your work?
I feel like social media is my main platform for just getting my work out there. So social media is the reason that I have business. So I will update my Instagram, I would say every 2 weeks. I'll try. I don't want to flood my feed. So I'll have 3 posts lined up for that week. And then I will, in my captions, I will say, okay, this is available for print, but if you also want private orders done, I do that as well. And I feel like 80% of my customer base reaches me through my social media. The other 20% probably my friends, or through networking. They'll find out that I do art and they'll contact me. But the majority of it is through social media. They'll see the work that I've done. They'll want to buy a print of mine, or they'll want a personal order. So I'll tell them to email me with all the references and all stuff like that. So yeah, social media is it is really a blessing in this day and age. It really gets artists' work out there and stuff like that.
So tell us your personal favorite pieces which you have worked on, like those pieces which you wanna, like you don't want to sell it because it's too personal to you or it means a lot to you.
I would say, so I recently did a picture for my sister. It was a painting of her at her engagement.
Okay.
And I haven't published it yet because it's very special to me. And I feel like that is just something, that's my first proper gift to her as an adult. And I feel she really loved it. And I'm really happy. That's the kind of picture that I will treasure to my heart. So the painting that I would never sell would probably be, I don't know, I feel like I would sell all my paintings, except the ones that I do for commissions, of course. But my favorite pieces is probably, I have a series of paintings or prints based on Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is one of my favorite cartoons growing up. It had so much influence on me as a person and as an artist. So I thought, okay, I want to do a piece inspired by that. So I started with one of the characters, and then it got so much traction. People loved it so much. I thought, okay, I'll do an entire series, and it's still currently ongoing. But I feel like that is the most popular piece out of all my work, and people seem to love that the most. So I said that's my favorite, solely because it is really popular, and also because it just has a special place in my heart in terms of where it's coming from.
How has COVID affected your art process and business in any way?
I personally feel like it hasn't affected me because I'm purely digital artist, so everything I do is online. So if a person wants to buy a print, they can still buy it through my email. I can just email them the print after they've paid me. But in terms of my process, I feel like it hasn't really affected as well because I'm entirely digital. None of my work is traditional. It's entirely on my computer or my iPad. So I feel like I've worked a little bit more as well because I have less distractions because I have to stay home.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go for I don't have any obligations outside the house. I can just stay at home and then work. And I feel like I've actually produced a bunch of more than I normally do within the 3 months that we've been in quarantine.
What are one of the worst things you heard as an artist?
I'll pay you an exposure. That is the worst thing for me. So a lot of when I first started out, a lot of people used to tell me, your prices are too high. You charge too much. I'll just pay you an exposure. You'll get more clients.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing to hear because I have bills and exposure is not going to pay my bills, unfortunately. But I think the second worst thing is probably hearing a client say that they will reach out to you and they'll talk to you about the work that you want to do and they'll get you all excited for the project and then you'll give them their prices and they're like, okay, I'll get back to you. And then they leave and they never get back to you. I feel like it's very shattering for self-confidence as a person. And up till recently, I actually spoke to someone who told me, you charge way too less for your prices. I feel like for the amount of work that you do into your drawings, you charge way less. And I realized that, yes, I do charge way less. So I feel like just having customers just speak to you, get you all hyped up for a project, and then just suddenly ducking out without saying, okay, I can't afford your prices, that's very discouraging, I guess.
In terms of future plans, like what's in store for Nelusha?
I want to keep working as a graphic designer and an illustrator. I do want to release a bunch of more prints. I am currently working on a coloring book with my sister, so that's a big thing that I'm looking forward to. And I have a bunch of more projects that I want to work on as well. I have a commission with some clients that I just want to keep working, but I also want to have a full-time job as well on the side. So I want to get to the point where I can support myself entirely on freelance, but until then I want to also work with the company that I can create more work as well.
Okay, we are now getting to the end of this show, so please give the audience a few words of encouragement for people just like you who are striving to be artists as well.
I would say keep practicing. Practice is the most important thing you can do as an artist. I feel that because I started at a very young age, I was able to get to the point where I am, and I practiced a hell of a lot. I practiced a lot. I feel like repetition is one of the biggest things that you could do as an artist. You have to keep doing something again and again until you hone that craft to a point where you can sell it. And I feel that through repetition, it doesn't matter what you do. It can be a simple sketch. It could even be a line for all you know. But as long as you're doing something every single day, you'll get to a point, I would say that maybe an year or months down the line, you'll look back and realize, wow, I've really gotten better, and it's because you've been practicing. You just need to keep at it. I feel like a lot of artists nowadays get discouraged because they find that the art is not as good as the ones they see on Instagram or as the ones they see like the really big artists. But the thing is, those artists started somewhere really low as well.
Exactly.
Everyone starts out small, but you have to keep honing your practice. Talent is one thing, but also you have to hone the talent as well. You
Hard
can't
work.
just have it, and you can't just have it, and you can't just expect to get big overnight. You have to really work if you want to make it as an artist, I feel. But
Okay.
it's possible. It is very possible. It just takes a bit of hard work.
Because your only competition is basically you.
Yes.
So thank you, Nelusha, for coming to this show.
Thank you for having me.
And we wish you good luck on your future endeavors and projects.
Thank you so much.